In today's video, we're going to be building a lovely little garden that sits on top of our aquariums. Right? I got this idea from Keeping the Fish Simple. I will leave a link to his video in the first comment. I want to do this because I've had issues with keeping plants above the aquariums before where they just don't sit right and stuff. And then when I did see his video, I realised I had quite a lot of corrugated plastic lying around, literally. Right, so we're going to use some filter batting and we're going to bulb up our little plants and whatever. You'll see, it's going to be fun. Right, let's do this. Alright, but before we go on to the fix for this issue, let me quickly show you the actual problem, right, because it's a common problem a lot of you guys will have as well, is when you have plants in your aquariums like I do here and they fall in and eventually they die and whatever else, right. I don't want this to be all the way in the water. I want it to be up here and growing out over the side, and you can see, yeah, there's no holder there. You can see here as well with the peace lily that it is doing just okay, but I would prefer if that peace lily was just a little bit further out the water. It's the same with the one at the back here that's fallen in a little bit deeper than this, right? And you can tell I've been trying to fix it over here because I have different cups and plates and whatever else, and yeah, this one's just died away to nothing. And down here I've been trying a few different ways. This one was not too bad. This is one of these acrylic plant holders or tube holders that you get for tubes and RO tubing and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, you can see the issue here as well. It's just falling too far through the little holder. This one seems to be doing okay. I've tried over here a big clamp on this one with a cable tie in the corner, and you can see, guys, that I've been trying to fix it with various different solutions over and over and over, and yeah, I've not really come up with something that simply puts the roots into the tank and leaves the plant high and dry the way it's meant to be so it can grow properly, right? And there's also another issue as well, and that is, in every single idea I've seen, the hole on here is just a hole that the plant can go through, right? So I've thought of how we can fix this as well with maybe some filter batting, some polyester wool, maybe wrap it around, like the same idea that you see in aquarium plants when you first get them. They have that little bit of batting around them just to keep the roots all in place and whatever. I think that would be a good idea for this. So my idea would be to cut some corrugated plastic, make a hole, get something like our peace lily here, surround it with some batting, and then put it in the hole and then have it across the tank, right? So that is what I think we're going to try and do. Thought we'd try and do our first one for this little vase here because, yeah, I think this is the one that needs it most in my room. The light is off it just now, just so we could do this little bit of work. I have a little piece of scrap material here. Let me just pull this plant out of the way just now. You can see how bad a condition it is in. And yeah, we don't need to cut this to size yet. What I'm going to do here, guys, is I want to experiment with how we're actually going to cut the hole in the first place, because I think that is going to be the hardest thing that we do, right? So normally you just use something like a Stanley knife and gouge it out kind of thing. But yeah, I want to try and keep it nicer and cool looking, so we're going to try and go with something like punching holes through, and then we're going to simply do like a dot thing with a pair of scissors, and we're going to see if we can manage to actually cut this corrugated plastic. Let's just roughly eyeball this up here, and we'll give it a curry. I'm just going to roughly cut it with my vision, and we'll see how we can go with this guy. I can tell that we're going to be able to cut our holes and stuff with this pretty easy. This cut's quite good, as long as you have a decent pair of scissors, right? So we know we can cut with a sharp pair of scissors. That is one thing that's good, right? So let's do a pilot hole somewhere on here, and we'll just use it like a base kind of thing, right? This is, guys, this is going to be a really, really rough one-off thing, so we want the hole to be reasonably big. And let's see, guys, if we can poke a hole through one of these points without hurting myself. Oh, we can. And we're going to do join dot the dot. With a little bit of luck, this will work. There's probably easier ways to do this. Let me know in the comment section below if you've ever had to cut a circle in this, because I do actually have hole saws and whatever else, but I'm not sure that they would cut this plastic without shattering it. It's very hard to get that through there. You know what I might get for this, guys, is I actually have toenail scissors. That might be better for this. One second. Here we have a pair of toenail scissors that are very, very sharp. They've been sterilised, so don't worry about germs and whatever else. And oh. See, can I go? I can't. I went all the way through. Right, so as long as you do holes that are close enough together, I would imagine this isn't going to be too much of an issue. I wanted to try and do this, guys, to get like roundish holes, but for all the bother that this is going to be, you may as well do a square hole instead of trying to mess with this, I think. Right, but we'll do the first one like this, and we'll see. Is that through? Yeah, it's very, very messy. You see it? Not too pretty. Alright, let's get a little bit of filter butting. It doesn't need to be much because this expands quite a bit. Let's split this in half. Maybe we could use this for two. Like this, right? So my idea is just to wrap this around. Let's see, can we use one of these ones that's struggling in here? One of these ones. You see how much roots this has on it? Yeah, I would say it kind of has a rhizome, these here, you see it? So the idea, guys, is I just want to cover this root system just and no more, like this. Right, so that the rhizome and any new leaves that come growing off this can come through really, really easy. You want it to be reasonably tight but not restrictive. Right, and the idea here is you want at least some of the roots to go into the water. So let me put them through into this. And let's see, guys, if we can kind of just squeeze this in. So I'm pulling the roots through the bottom like this. Right, and then we're going to simply squeeze it and push it in. Right, and hopefully those jagged edges and stuff that we talked about is enough for it to stay. Look at that. That's pretty firm as well. I'll push it down just a wee bit. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was a good idea to have this these edges so rough, but yeah, that's not going anywhere, right? And then it would simply go onto our container like this. Isn't that good? Isn't that good, right? And if I look under here, the roots should be in the water. I can't see because I'm not that tall. But let's maybe try and tidy this up a little bit. Maybe we could use this part here. Let's remove our little fella from here again, so we can maybe cut up this little piece here, like so. I think this is a really good idea. Yeah, as I said, I've been actually struggling with how to do this for a while. Right? We're pulling it through just a wee bit. I want it to be snug, guys, but not so snug that it's going to be all over the place, right? So, isn't that looking good? Look at it. It's the best way I've seen so far for doing these plants. Let's put you on top. Oh, not in, on top. You see how secure that is, look? Isn't that nice? Right, so that is just one plant. Let's do another one in another tank that is a little bit further of an expanse across. Like we'll do one for down here. Right? I'm going to do the same idea and then I'm going to show you again. Right, watch one momentos. Right, guys, I actually found a little bit for it's a diamond tipped hole saw for glass. Let's see if we can actually do anything with this through this. Right, so the thing I'm going to imagine that's going to be the issue here is keeping it still in one position to cut effectively. Right? I have tried another drill bit here and it just went all over the place. Look at that. Right, so it does wander around a little bit, but it cuts a pretty neat hole. You see? So I wonder if, can we use this as a template on another piece of acrylic? Cut this across here, use a clamp, use this actual part as the template for our holes. Let's try that. Right, guys, so here is our main piece. Let me just quickly eyeball up where I want to put these. Let's just put 2 in to begin with. Because I want these to go just above the filter in the tub that we have made, right? So how do we do this? We want to put our little jig on top of this, above the hole, I reckon, like so. And I'm going to put it just above this corner here, so it's really, really well supported. See if we can use a clamp to try and hold it in position. I don't have much hope that this will actually work, but we'll try one without water to see if it actually cuts, and we'll try one with water. So let me just straighten this up a tad, right on spot. Let's see, right, so will this hold in place? Just take your time. Wow, would you look at that? I think it worked. I think it actually worked. There's our hole. It's perfectly round. So that is how you drill a hole into your PVC corrugated plastic. Let's turn it around. We're going to try this side this time with a little bit of water, guys. We want to see if it makes any difference, because that was a wee bit laborious, whatever way you want to say it. Let's find our clamp again. It doesn't need to hold much, but it needs to hold enough that it doesn't move while they're drilling. Let's see, right, so let's try a little bit of water in it this time. A little bit of tank water, because you would normally do this with a diamond tip bit like this. If you were doing it with glass, you'd have to water it to make sure it didn't overheat, right? So let's see if this does anything this time. Let me try and get you over here a wee bit. Right, let's go. Set it even. Alright, I would say that was a wee bit longer, but I would say that the cut is actually much better. It's much cleaner. You see it? No, this is our this is our template, isn't it? Let's have a look at this side. So the template was the first one we did, guys. Let's do a little comparison over here. Template in this hand, yeah, without the water is much cleaner. You see it? Much cleaner, right? So that is something that we've learned. All right, we have our 2 pieces of pistole. Let's get these wrapped and onto the tank. It'll be interesting to see what these look like. I have a feeling that this isn't going to be the best way for this specific tank. I should have went long ways along the tank instead of width ways here, but it is what it is. We can probably change that after. Let's put this in here. I also give this plastic a little bit of a wipe, just to get all the stuff off. Now this is probably the fiddliest part of it all, is trying to get the roots through this hole while you're doing other things. So it's probably okay for you to trim these roots, but just make sure, guys, that some of them are actually going in the water, or you'll end up with a plant that doesn't get any water and it'll die eventually. So let's see. So that was the perfect fit almost. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Just make sure it's a little bit further in. So there is a lot to be said for leaving the hole rough instead of trying to get it really smooth. It just works better because it gives the filter floss here something to actually grip into. So again, let's do this one. And I love pistoles, guys. It just looks so cool above tanks, and of course it grows so well as well, because it is very well suited for these type of conditions. Let's see, can we do the same with this one? Let's get you in there. I'm trying to get all the roots through, so there's no stragglers on the underside. Now this will only really work if your water level is at the same level as the plants. You see, so you can see the distance here that the water level has to be up to for this to work. Let's get this one through a little bit more. And just take your time with stuff. There's no rush at all. You see it? Look how good that is. Much better, right? And I'm just going to orientate the plants so the big leaves are not interfering with each other. They're looking good. Let's put this onto our tank. Now I can see already that the issue I've had here is I've just not did the holes in the right position. You can see here one is very weighty one side. Let me move these out of the way just a wee bit. We can pull this across like so, you see. But I think for this type of tub in particular, I would have been better cutting this a little bit thinner like this and going with the length ways across the back, just to, you know, make it a little bit easier. But yeah, guys, I think that has turned out fantastically. Look how secure that is as well, right? And the roots are in the water. I can see it. As long as you have 1 or 2 roots in the water, this will work. This tank is a tiny bit low as well, but yeah, I am really pleased with the way this has turned out. So I went ahead and I removed it from the tub and I fixed the orientation. It's the same piece of plastic. It actually fitted the long way and it's in the correct format for the corrugation, facing the length instead of going across the breadth for strength. And yeah, I think that's turned out pretty good. Look how solid that is. Now, none of the plants that are in here are mega restrictive. They just have a little bit of this filter floss on them to stop them from moving. But yeah, I think that's turned out incredibly well. Let's put it on the container and see what it looks like, because that is what matters here. Now, I think I made it the exact size, guys. So it is as big as it needs to be, basically, right? And you're just going to make sure that all the roots underneath here are in the water, right? This tag does need a little bit of a top up, so be it, but all the roots are in the water all the same. This little have to be removed. But yeah, that's turned out really, really well, isn't it? So there you have it, guys. Big kudos to Keeping Fish Simple for the idea and giving me the inspiration to come in my shrimp room and change something, because for me that is what it's all about. If you've enjoyed today's video and you want to see more, then please do like and subscribe. Comment in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the next one. Happy shrimp keeping, guys. 1, 2, 3. So big kudos to Keeping Fish Simple. Keeping Fish Shrimple. Shrimple Fish Simple.